Welcome to the Experience Matters podcast with your host, Kent Clothier Sr., and your co-host, Kevin Homel.
Welcome, everyone. Kent Clothier Sr., your host of the Experience Matters podcast. Co-host today is Kevin Homel. We'll hear from him in a couple of minutes. Again, we want to welcome you and let you know that you can hear us on SoundCloud, iTunes, or go to the memphisinvest.com website. Click a little bit down on the home, scroll a little bit down on the home page and pick up the Experience Matters podcast, and all of our videos and audios together are on that site. So today we have an interesting topic for you. I'll let Kevin jump in here and tell you what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is going to be an interesting one. As the 22nd episode, I believe, Kent, that we're at. That's going back over and listening to your entrepreneurial journey, the first 6 episodes that we did. One of the themes in there was some of the challenges that you had to overcome to continue on in the journey that's made you successful. And so I wanted to spend today talking about mental toughness, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Good. So there's a lot of stories in your early journey of being an entrepreneur. One of those that I remember you told that stood out to me is within a week or so of taking over the grocery business that you had to make your first payroll, and that one probably would have tripped up a lot of people. And then you've lost key team members over the past, some that were pretty close to your family. You've had other challenges, I think even one that tried to maybe take some customer information from you and all that. And so really wanted to talk today about the hurdles that get in the way of an entrepreneur and the mental toughness to kind of break through those. How did you develop the drive to push through those early challenges to achieve the success that you've had today?
Good question, Kevin. Thank you. And I'm thinking a little bit about this mental toughness thing because that's a big area. First off, I want to mention, just go back just for a second, that in our last podcast, we talked about that we were approaching the 10,000 viewership, listenership area. And then last week we went over that. And since the previous podcast, we're approaching 11,000 now. So we thank you for those of you that listen to our content. So let me get into mental toughness. And good question, Kevin. And to me, mental toughness, whether it's in the workplace or on the athletic field, or whether you're coaching or playing or leading, I think mental toughness is probably the foundation for long-term success. Because if you're weak-minded, then the chances of you being able to work through the challenges that mental toughness is going to require as an entrepreneur are probably few and far between. The mental toughness that it takes to be a type of business that can start and be the 1 out of 100 that's here 5 years or 10 years later, it really requires a little bit different type of thinking. Now, mental toughness can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. But to me, it comes back to a couple of things. Obviously, resilience, confidence, grit, drive, that you're just not going to be denied in the end. And whatever field you're in, whether you're a business owner or you're an executive, you're an entrepreneur, you're an athlete, you're just going to have the work ethic and the mental toughness that to push through and overachieve. And again, in a lot of areas, I think mental toughness separates greatness from average. And if you bring that every day, the type of toughness where the mental toughness, you're going to make wrong decisions. You're going to make some good decisions, some bad decisions. But back, Kevin, when you were talking about the business of making the first payroll, and that was the first time that Sherry and I had stepped out as an entrepreneur in the fall of 1983. And 2 weeks later, at the end of October of 1983, we had to make a payroll for us and about 20 other people. And to do that, you have to have sales. You have to have the wherewithal and the ability to do that, because obviously people are affected by it. And you grow up real quick and you get mentally tough real quick. And then, oh, by the way, 2 weeks later, November 15th, you got to make another one.
Here it comes again.
All right. And so you have to be able to create the sales and the opportunities to create the business and to peel off a layer of that for profit, to pay the payroll, to pay your vendors, to do a lot of things that requires a really, really different mindset of really mental toughness to be able to do that. And once you get out there and you get into that box of it's just you and the 20 or however many people, the 80 people that we have that work here in our company, that's our job. And it takes a certain mentality that's a little bit different than most people, because it's dependent on us and our team and me individually to make sure that happens every other week, even in our business today. And that takes a little bit different type of mental capacity to, and I don't want to say it's pressure or it's stress, because it's not, because it's just satisfaction of running the business and realizing you do have to be very, very tough-minded, and it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak-minded to be an entrepreneur.
Who are some of because you brought sports into it now, you've been known around here to quote Nick Saban here and there and stuff, but who are some of the leaders out in the world, whether it's sports, whether it's business, that you've kind of latched on to their message or their content to help you, to help drive you as well?
Well, there's a lot of great leaders out there in the sports field, and I've talked about Nick Saban a lot, and he's just old school grind, and then he comes out of the Bill Belichick mold. But even today, there's a lot of young coaches out there today that are new age, new era type of coaches that you're seeing that have a different type of mental toughness, and their job is different today because the mental toughness is in a different area. It's on the field, it's in the data, it's in the personnel, it's in the evaluation, and there's a whole different level of mental toughness in doing that. But you can pick your poison. I've listened to a lot of different business leaders. I guess I've said early on in the podcast, some of the very first people that I listened to was Zig Ziglar and Dale Carnegie, and talking about some of the things and the principles that they practice and how to do that. And it's still the same way today. And there's a whole new generation of these folks today. There's old school coaches and leaders. There's new school teachers and leaders that are going to develop the same type of mental toughness, but it's just going to be different to how they do it today.
Yeah, I think we pick up a little bit of something from everybody out there that's had some success, and maybe this nugget from this person and this nugget from this person. So there is no magic pill that makes all of this easy, obviously. And if you've listened to Kent's story out there, especially those first 6 of the journey from him working for a company to being his own company to growing it to what we have today. So what are some of the disciplines that you maintain daily, weekly, monthly, to keep yourself mentally tough and focused on the task of leading this machine, which, by the way, we're not too far from managing $1 billion worth of real estate assets, and we've crossed the $100 million revenue line. So that's a massive, massive accomplishment. What are some of those daily, weekly, monthly disciplines that keep you mentally tough?
Well, you have to be consistent. And one of the things that I see in a lot of leaders is they're very consistent. They have a regiment that they follow daily, weekly, monthly. As I've gotten older, it's not as easy for me to do that same type of regiment that I used to have. But today, you have to come and bring it every day, because the people that are working with you and for you expect you to do that every single day. And no matter what level leader you're at, people are looking at you. They're expecting you to be a leader, be responsible, set the example, and to bring that type of mental toughness every day. And once people get used to that, they're going to expect you to do it. And it's hard to go backwards, and it's hard to take your foot off the gas. And when you change for whatever reason, then people will notice. But the mental toughness side is bringing it every single day. Yes, you have to treat people the way you want to be treated, but they have to understand that we're all in this together, and we have a job that we have to do. But as I said a few minutes ago, I think there's different levels of mental toughness. And we've seen people that supposedly mental tough that are yellers and screamers and demand things to be done. That's out there. I probably was a little bit like that 25 or 30 years ago, but I don't think I am today. Experience that I have 50 years in business gives you kind of a pass on having to do that, because I've done a lot of things. I've seen a lot of, what's that guy that said, we've done a lot of things, we've seen a lot of things, and that's kind of what I've done. And I use a lot of that. Some of that is things that go back many years, but to me, that's part of the mental toughness that you bring with the experience that you have.
All right. So with all of that success, with that mental toughness, you still this year, and I think we've said in a podcast previously, we brought Jesse Itzler into the offices. We talked about the book, Living with a SEAL. That has resonated with you. And so you yourself this year have even challenged yourself to kind of take it to another level, and you've challenged all of us to do the same thing. We sat in here even this morning with our executive team and some of our leadership talking about what we want to do next year, what we want to set ourselves up to do for future years. So someone out there listening that says, man, this guy, I love what he's got to share. What can you share with that entrepreneur about not being complacent, not resting on your success, gritting it out? You said the word gritting it out to get to another level.
Well, we've heard it, and when Jesse came in and had the story of the SEAL, and that there's 40% more there that we can all do, and some of the stories that he had, and again, go back to what a SEAL goes through to become a Navy SEAL, and that unbelievable physical and mental regimen that they have to do to get to that level. I go back to, as all of us as entrepreneurs and business people, and we just can't quit. We can't give up. We can't let people see us from a weak standpoint as your competition. I heard a guy talk recently about, are you worried about your competition? No, I'm not worried about it at all. As long as I perform at a high level of excellence and expectation, I never worry about my competition. And that's pretty tough mental toughness right there. Say, I don't worry about my competition. I don't care about them. I don't even want to know who it is, because I already know I perform at a higher level than they do. I perform at a higher level of excellence. I set my standards higher than any of my competition. I already know it. Now, the mental toughness is staying on top of that mountain every single day and bringing it and expecting your team and your people and setting the example of the highest standard of excellence, and then you don't have to worry about competition. And that's really a strong point of mental toughness.
Yeah, and it's not easy to do that, because all the success that you've achieved and this company's achieved, and you're adding people to the team, and over time you add, and now we have 85-ish people, and you have all kinds of different people, and getting all of those folks to have the same level of intensity and the same level of drive is challenging. That's where I think a lot of business owners probably get tripped up, is the energy it takes to put into developing an org chart and leadership that'll take that energy and push it through the whole organization. On the people side of that, how have you been able to make sure that energy and that drive goes all the way through the organization?
Well, from a new person standpoint, as we talked about before, we're looking for a certain type of person. And when we get him or her in here, and we've pre-qualified them, and we set the expectations, and we set the job responsibilities, and we hold them accountable, and then we're really looking for a mentally tough person right there that can handle the challenges of working with our company, because the people that work for us are above average, and they're not going to let these weak-minded people get in here. And then in the everyday operation with the people that we already have in here, the 80 people, it's my job and our leadership job to keep them hungry to even do better than what they're doing today. And as you know, we're at the end of 2017. It's been a good year. Now we have to come back and challenge our people for 2018 to do even better. And that's a real challenge. That's a real mental tough mountain to climb right there. Now we're going to start all over, and we want to do even better than we did last year. And it's going to take every one of those people, those above average people, pull on the same rope with us every single day to get to that milestone and climb that mountain. So,
So we're going to close out 2017. What do you say to the entrepreneurs out there for 2018 to get them direction towards developing mental toughness to help them take their organizations to another level?
Well, as an entrepreneur for the mental toughness, there's no free lunches. And being an entrepreneur is very hard. And it's not an 8-to-5 job. And I tell people there's no martini lunches in there. This is a grind. And it's every single day. If you bring it every single day and you put in the work, then you will see the results eventually. Because if you work hard enough, good things are going to happen to you. And I'm the pretty good example of that. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, by far. I have no education. I graduated from high school, barely. No math after the 8th grade. But I'm going to work, and I'm going to grind, and I'm going to bring it every day, and I'm going to read all I can. I'm going to learn all I can. I'm going to listen to other people. So there are a lot of people out there that are smarter than I am. All they got to do is go to work. Just go to work and bring it and grind every day, no matter what business you're in. And if you have a plan and you do your homework, and there's no reason why you can't be successful. You just can't give up and you can't quit.
There it is. Go back and listen to episodes 1 through 6, Kent's entrepreneurial journey. There's a lot of good stuff in there. If you want a little more info from us, if you do have questions to ask us for future episodes, or if you want a little more development material or guidance on this, send an email to info@memphisinvest.com. And that's our session for today. Thank you for listening.
Kevin, thank you. Great job today. And I want to remind everybody that the Experience Matters podcast, you can find us on iTunes, iCloud, or the MemphisInvest.com website. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and hopefully this is some great content for you today. Have a great holiday season, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Experience Matters. You can listen and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Be sure to visit us at MemphisInvest.com.